Welcome to our step-by-step video for the DIY Christmas store hanger. Kit is available now on Etsy. Check out the link as listed. Or visit us at Ivana Rustic Design for more details. Your kit will consist of board, stencil, paint, brush, ribbon, and twine. So let's begin. You will also need scissors, tape, paper, plates, and a measuring tape. We will start by painting the one full side all black. Make sure your brush is nicely saturated and paint away. Make sure your edges are also painted. Once your black paint is all dry, make sure the drilled holes are on top. And now we're going to measure off the bottom so we can set our green border at the bottom. You're going to measure 2 inches from the bottom and lay your bottom tape. Measure 2 inches for your gap before you lay your other tape on top. So get a pencil and measure 2 inches in the middle. There you go. Take your tape and make sure it's securely fastened so you can start painting. So take your green paint, make sure your brush is all clean, and paint in between the 2 rows of tape. Make sure you get your edges as well. If you'd like to do a second coat, do a light coat, make it dry, and then do your second coat. And once all done, just remove your tape. And then you have your border for the bottom. So now it's time to do the stenciling. So grab your Christmas, get your stencil brush and paint ready. First you're going to separate the stencil, the blue stencil, from its backing. Now this becomes tricky. Your best bet is to turn it upside down, place it on your board, and slowly peel off the white and keep the stencil all intact against your board, reversed, just so you carefully remove all the backing of the stencil. Nice and slow. Take your time. If it does stick somewhere, if your fingers stick, just slowly release and readjust everything and keep on slowly peeling off the white. That is going to be the trickiest part of this whole project, is removing the stencil, the backing of the stencil. So take your time, and there you go. Okay, so now slowly position the stencil just above your green border and pat down your Christmas. So keep on lifting, readjusting until it gets just about right. It will take a few attempts to get it just perfect. So take your time, pat it down, move over to the next section, and keep on getting it just right. Making sure that there's no air bubbles because you don't want it to leave any air pockets so no bleeding happens, okay? I see a few air pockets on top, so I'm gonna pat them down. I'm gonna use a border or tape on top just to secure, to make sure there's no bleeding happening on the top part. Okay. Okay. Just keep on patting it till it's perfect. Okay, then you get some paint. Get your brush. Make sure your brush is all free of any loose hairs. So you're going to grab some onto your brush. You're going to remove the excess off your brush, okay? So you want a very, very light brush, okay? Remove the excess. And in a rotating motion, you're going to just rotate and rub it in. So very, very light. And it's not like a painting motion. It's more of a circular rotating motion, okay? And then you could patting it down as well as for your little corners and stuff to make sure. Okay. You again could wait till it's all dry and do a second coat if you want a nice prominent coat. Go back at your little edges, make sure, patting it all across. Yeah, if you're patting it that way, there's less to be any bleeding. Now, if there is some bleeding, you could always go back with a bit of black and touch them up. Again, a second coat is fine, but just make sure it's all dry before you start a second coat. And there you go. Once you're done, just slowly remove, and voila, your Christmas portion is complete, and very, very little bleeding. So now the same for the Mary portion of the sign. You're going to prepare your red paint. You're going to have a clean stencil brush, and now you're going to separate the blue stencil from the backing. Again, place it on the board flat. It's your easiest way to do it. And then slowly peel the backing till it's all off. Okay. There you go. There you go. And once ready, turn it around and place it where you want. You can go either in the middle, on top of Christmas, off to the side, wherever you choose. Okay, so once your stencil is all positioned the way you want it, make sure you're tapping it all down, get all the air pockets off, and you can start to do your stenciling. Make sure that your brush has very minimal paint on it, and do your rotating and dabbing motions. Now the Mary sign is a little bit smaller than the Christmas sign, so you want very, very little paint on your brush and more in a dabbing motion, just so you can get every little corner and whatnot. Okay, again, you can do a second coat, but make sure your first coat is completely dry before you do a second coat. Now I find the red is a little darker, so it's not as doesn't stand out as much as the white, so you may want to add a little bit of white to your red so it's a little bit more visible, but that's up to you. You can test that out before you start using your red paint. That's it. So once it's all done, just remove the Mary, and there you go, it's done. So now off to do. Okay, so once the painting portion is done, we're going to install the burlap for the hanging portion of the sign. So what you want to do is at the end of the, once you've established how high or how high you want your sign to, or your hanging portion to be, you're going to cut off your burlap, and then the edge you want to tape off just the edge so we can feed it through the pre-drilled portion of the sign. So there's three pre-drilled. The middle one is for the ribbon, and the two side ones are for the burlap hanging portion of the sign. Okay, so get it nice and tight, and you're going to feed it through. So once it's off to the other side, you might need a pair of scissors, or I'm using a set of pliers to help feed it through, because it is nice and tight. Okay, just enough so you can do a knot, ensuring that it is sturdy. Okay, so do a nice knot. You can do a double knot if you have excess ribbon or excess twine. You're going to want to cut off the excess, and there you go. Now if you want it a little bit longer, you can cut it and adjust it any way you want. Okay, so now we're going to do in the middle there's another hole, and the ribbon and the greenery is all set for you. All you have to do is feed it again through the hole. So one of the strings you feed through the hole, okay, and then the other string that's on the other side, you're just going to grab it and just do a double knot, just to fasten it and for it to stay nice and intact. And there you have it. That's the end of it. Cut off the excess. And there you have it, your very own Merry Christmas door hanger sign. Well done. Thank you for joining us.